Hey, this is Stoney Meager with Old Farts Fishing, and I'm here at Johnson's Bait and Tackle, and one of my favorite places to go. And I'm with one of the guys that work here, Mike, and we're going to talk about salmon lures. As you guys know, I've been on the feather, been on the sack trying to catch salmon, and I'm striking out like crazy.
It can be a tough one sometimes, you know, but I think we can help you out with what you need, you know, as far as the salmon goes. So.
Sweet. So let's talk about salmon lure. Give me some recommendations. Show me some products.
Let's start out with plugs first. The Brad's Killerfish has become one of the most popular plugs out there. And this year, because of the low water, the 16s have been working the best.
Okay.
It's just a size. They make them in a 16, a 15, and a 14.
And I've been using the 16s in the river, and it's, the flow's pretty low, so that's what I want to have. Bigger.
Lower the flow, bigger the plug.
Okay.
Smaller the flow, or higher the flow, smaller plug.
Okay.
Okay. I've seen salmon caught in just about every color, but anything with chrome and chartreuse, hot pink can be a good color. The blues can be good sometimes, but the majority of the times, you know, that chrome and that chartreuse is going to be the hot plug to use.
And then when you use those plugs, am I just using that, or am I doing something to it?
No, you can do a number of things to them. Most guys are going to put them on spreaders.
Okay.
And you can put them on a wire spreader, a mono spreader, a three-way swivel, however you want to do that. But one of the most important things that guys do with their flatfish, quick fish, is to put a sardine wrap.
Yes.
And a sardine wrap is basically a piece of sardine that's wrapped on the belly of the plug itself. And this just helps you get that, I call it the deal closer. So the fish comes up, it sees this thing flashing in its face, it smells that sardine, and it's like, I'm supposed to eat this, you know? So what a lot of people don't understand is that when these salmon come into the freshwater system, their throats swell shut and they can't feed. And that's why they die when they get up to spawn, because they eat through their fat, eat through their muscle, and when they're up there, they've got enough left to spawn, and then they die. And that's one of the main reasons. But most of the time, they're biting out of aggression.
And I've heard people use a little bit of crawdad on there too.
Yeah, so they don't like crawdads because crawdads get into their beds and they eat their eggs, and so that smell just kind of sets something off. And I think over thousands of years, it's just been embedded into their brain, you know.
And that's the interesting thing you said about this thing is they're not there because they're feeding. They're going after aggression. You're kind of making them angry, putting this in front of their face, and they go after it.
And so an important technique with that is called back bouncing. And so what you're going to do is get at the top of a hole, and you're going to let this thing bounce down through the hole and let it set for 15 minutes or so. And then you're going to pick it up and let it bounce again. And what you're doing is you're bringing this lure right into their face. So it upsets them so much that they just want to snap at it.
Nice.
You know?
Nice. All right, so that's one technique. What else we got?
The next one is going to be spinners. There's quite a few different types that are really popular. The Silvertron spinners are probably one of the most popular spinners, especially for trolling. As far as flying C's and the blue foxes, those are great for casting. I kind of like the flying C a little bit more for the guys that are doing, you know, throwing stuff from shore because it's a little bit heavier, 7/8 of an ounce versus 5/8 of an ounce on the blue foxes. And again, color schemes, I've seen them caught on every color, but blue and chrome, purple and chrome, hot pink, chartreuse and chrome, those colors have always proven themselves throughout the years.
And I've seen one, I received one from a client that looked like it was a glow in the dark. It had that glow in the dark look to it.
Sure.
Do you put that in light, and do you use that at night, or would I use that during the day? Or
I consider the witching hour for salmon fishing that 1 hour before sunrise, because all of these fish are still concentrating on moving. If you don't get them when they're moving, they've already hunkered down in their holes, they're not going to move for nothing. They're conserving that energy for their spawn. So that 1 hour in the morning, and you fish that glow in the dark color, and it just aggravates them, and that gets them to bite. So, I mean, the other method that I could talk about too is jigging. So jigs in general, right now, because of how low the water is, the jigs, you know, that you want to use is going to be more like a 1 ounce. Just remember that if you're fishing in the river and you're fishing with a sinking lure and it's over 1 ounce, you must have a single hook on it. A lot of guys get tickets, and it's not fun to get a ticket. So that's probably one of the most important things to know about jigging.
I learned that lesson, not by the ticket, but with a friend that said, hey, you're doing that wrong. I'm like, what?
Oh, sure.
And
yeah,
he says,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
So luckily I'm gone when people know what they're doing in that aspect. To
That
keep
helps.
me out of trouble.
It helps your pocketbook, especially. But jigs, I mean, I've seen guys fish all the way up to 3-ounce jigs. All depends on how heavy, how fast the water's moving, how deep of a hole you're fishing. If you get something that's a little bit too heavy, you're just going to be hitting the bottom and snagging all the time. So you really want to kind of get that balance of, being able to jig the jig. And I'm not talking about, a jigging motion should be up and then feed it down and keep your line tight and watch that line, because most of the time you get the take on the sink.
Okay.
A jigging motion is like not this. This is a snagging motion, and you can get ticketed for that as well. So keep with that. Just bring the jig up, feed it back down, and feel for the bite.
Well, there's a quick review of salmon lures and salmon fishing with Mike. So, if you need anything fishing related, and come back to Old Farts Fishing and watch our series on different things. We'll be doing more videos with you guys, some more educational things. And, if you ever need product, Johnson's Bait and Tackle is the place to go. Where are you guys located?
We are 298 Garden Highway in Yuba City, California.
And if I want to call you?
It's 674-1912, and that's a 530 zip code.
Very cool. And these guys are very knowledgeable. As you guys know, I just started getting into fishing hot and heavy this year, which seems like a bad year to do it because we're not catching.
Any year is a good year to fish, Stoney. Any year.
So this is the place to go. These guys are always friendly. Every one of them will help you out, give you some advice, and just come on in and meet the crew and have a good time. So watch our next video. It'll come out soon. And Old Farts Fishing, follow us on Facebook at OFF530. And make sure you go to Johnson's Bait and Tackle Facebook and follow them. The link will be down here somewhere.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.